Thank you for watching, liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing right now. From the Facebook fan page at facebook.com/Chris Perillo, Mitch Pargeter. Don't know if that's how you say his last name, but what phone did you use before the iPhone? I used so many phones before the iPhone. I've spent more money on phones that weren't the iPhone than I have on all the iPhones. Okay? Do the math there. Spent this much money on iPhones and this much money on phones that weren't the iPhone. I mean, wait, here, my hand's way off the screen there. That much. Spent a lot of money trying to find a phone that worked. The phone that I had immediately before the iPhone was a Samsung Blackjack, which I loved at the time. Running Windows Mobile was the best thing that was available at the time. Recorded video. Some of the earlier videos on my YouTube channel were recorded on that phone. Way back when. Hard to think about. But, I loved it. At that point, I thought I needed a physical keyboard. And at that point, I thought I needed, certain creature comforts that I could only get with that phone. I switched to AT&T because of the selection of phones. The Blackjack, I don't think was one of them when I switched to AT&T, but I think before the Blackjack, it was an HTC. It was like a candy bar type of phone, but I can't remember the exact model number. It's been so long, it was forgettable. But I love Nokia. Nokia was the very first mobile phone that I had, an old Nokia. The first ringtone, actually, that I have is still on here. I'm not going to play it right now. But, the idea that, I could carry a phone was novel enough. I mean, the fact that I could pick up a phone and go do-do-do and call someone, that was pretty darn awesome. Of course, back then I used to have to memorize numbers. Not like I do today. I mean, I just kind of take it for granted. I've got an address book that's synced everywhere. So, yeah, and that first Nokia phone, can't remember, monochrome screen, was definitely not a smartphone. I went from that to another Nokia phone, and I loved Nokias at that point. They were really, and I tried switching to Sony Ericsson at one point. I used it for like an hour, and I think I actually cried blood using that Sony Ericsson, the T16. Anyway, it was the worst experience that I had, and I said, I can't do this. I can't. I got to go back either to the phone I had before. I got to get another phone entirely. I can't. This is just so unusable. It was so bad. But the first camera phone I had was a camera phone. Was a Nokia. It was. Well, I wish I could remember the model number, but the numbers were like laid out in like a dial-like pattern. And some of those pictures I still have. I think I uploaded them to my Flickr account. I was using Text America at the time to upload photos. This is a long time ago. I've owned Palm devices for phones. I think the only Palm phone I had was a Sony Clie. No, that was just a PDA. I did have a Palm phone, although I can't remember the model number. I had a Palm 5, a Palm 7. Those were largely PDAs. I had a Pocket PC, an HP Jornada 548. Boy, it's really hard to remember the model numbers. But I used that. I started that, the Pocket PC, fell in love with Pocket PC, Microsoft Pocket PC back in 2001. Oh, it was a great PDA at the time. Beat Palm hands down. But I went back to Palm because there were more options available at the time. But then I ended up treating the Palm like it was a Pocket PC, and I was like, why am I doing this? So then I switched back from the Palm to a Pocket PC, switched back from the Pocket PC to the Palm, then back to the Pocket PC. I got an HP iPack with a sled that used compact flash, and I connected to the internet using, oh man, this is expensive. This is when I lived in San Francisco. The iPack, an HP iPack, Pocket PC, had a sled you could stick in there, and you stuck like one of the sled components was the ability you could connect to the internet by way of a craptastically slow, but better than nothing network for like $60 to $100 a month. It was crazy. And it was horrible. Even in San Francisco, it was horrible. And I went from the Pocket PC to, I dropped the Pocket PC. And no, actually, I went from a Pocket PC to another Pocket PC. No, I went from a I'm trying to reminisce of what I went from what to what to what. I think I actually had a Pocket PC and a cell phone at the time. Yeah, okay, that makes much more sense. And then I dropped both, switched to Verizon, and for the Verizon, I had a Pocket PC, $700 for the VX6000. and it was horrible. I mean, it was the best I could get. It's the best anybody could get. But it didn't have a lock screen, so I had to download a third-party app to have a lock screen. It was just... I mean, I was butt dialing everybody or pocket dialing or whatever. I mean, it was so bad. I mean, it was horrible. Every experience I had... I mean, it was okay. It was okay. Was I in love with anything? It was kind of a pain. But those were all the... Like I said, dude, I've spent a lot more money. So don't sit there and tell me. You know, I've been through all that, right? Before there were smartphones. And, you know, so I've got a little bit of perspective when I talk about usability that many people don't. Some people, their first phone was an iPhone. I'm like, oh, dude, I've been doing this a lot longer than that. I've been doing it a long time. Spent a lot of money. Wasted a lot of money. But, you know, those experiences change. And I think kind of jaded me to the point where I sound like a lot of people out there who'd never tried something new. They get in their mind what works, and, you know, I'm guilty of having blinders on at sometimes. I've done my best to, you know, remove the blinders and see outside of that. I'm very much looking forward to the new array of Android smartphones with ice cream sandwiches. I'm sorry. Well, it's ice cream sandwich, but when you have a series of Android phones, it would be ice cream sandwiches, right? If you have multiple iPhones running ice cream sandwich, would that not be ice cream sandwiches? Am I wrong? I don't know. How do you say that effectively? What was your first smartphone? That's a good question to ask. What phone was your first smartphone? And I think for me, the first smartphone I really ever used would have been the Pocket PC as it was called back then. That was my first real smartphone because it could do email and web browsing. Oh, horribly. Horrible. I mean, it worked, but it was so bad. Oh, it was laughable how bad it was. I mean, I knew it was bad at the time, but it was the best you could get. So there's the question. What was your first smartphone? I think that would be a great title for this video up there. What was your first smartphone? Well, you've got my answer, as long and winding as it was, just like my experience with phones over the years, mobile phones. What's yours? What's been your history? Where are you? Where were you? Leave a comment. We'll see you later.